Hello, my friends. I mean you. Yes, you.
Data of every description will pervade our consciousness. Holograms projected beneath our eyelids.
Welcome to the DCC Museum.
Hi, welcome back at the museum. Today we're at the beautiful Bethlehem Church, Studio 150 in Amsterdam, where we're interviewing Adrie Braat. He is the director of the Dutch Swing College Band, our next release on digital compact cassette, and we're doing a full interview with him today.
My name is Adrie Braat. I'm bass player of the Dutch Swing College Band since 1988. And since 2 years I'm also artistic director of the band. For the general public, I'm like the face for interviews and doing PR things, organizing things. But of course, as a musician, I'm part of the band, of the orchestra. As every member, we are 6 musicians in the band. Every member has his part in presenting the band on stage and also backstage, of course. The Dutch Swing College Band was founded on the Day of Liberation, 1945, in the Netherlands, 5th of May, and it developed during the war because jazz music was forbidden by the Nazis at that time. So some youngsters, 18, 20 years old, decided to preserve jazz music for the future, as it was forbidden. So they rehearsed in cellars in secret. They listened to the forbidden radio sending, and they copied all the music and they wrote it down. And when the war was over, they had their first performance in The Hague, Holland, and they founded then officially the Dutch Swing College. As college is a school at Dutch, Netherlands, etc. And from that time they gave lectures all over the Netherlands. They played in several combinations. So the orchestra of the Dutch Swing College was not 6 musicians, or there were probably 25 musicians who played in all kind of combinations. And as the Americans and Canadians were in Western Europe after the war, they wanted to have live music. So the orchestra of the Dutch Swing College performed at their parties, and the orchestra became a success in itself. And so 1948, I think, they recorded their first 78 record. And on that record, I think it was on the Decca label, it's also stated the orchestra of the Dutch Swing College. So the first 2 years it wasn't called Dutch Swing College Band, but it has another name. It was the Canadians that, what I heard from the founding father Peter Schilperoort, that said to him, it's not the orchestra, it's the Dutch Swing College Band. And from that on, the name was there. So the band played and played, and the lectures were disappearing to the background. The club, Dutch Swing College Club, was there, but it all was more and more the band that was playing. And in 1960, so 15 years after its founding, the band became professional with the 6 members then, and they became very popular in Europe and outside Europe. In 1968 they did a 3-month tour in South America, in Argentina, Chile, Brazil, and I still have those records at home. I should have brought them, sorry, to show them, but they were called Los Estudiantes Holandeses, which was of course very nice. I got some music on tape from that period as well, as Peter Schilperoort, founding father, he died in 1990. I got all his music, so his musical legacy, is that the word to say? So all his tapes and things, and it's really nice to listen to those music, that music from those days. 1960 the band became professional, and before that it was like an amateur band but still playing professional, as everybody in Europe was waiting for music for new times. So the youngsters then wanted to dance, to go out, to have party, and our music, the music of the Dutch Swing College Band, was music of the liberation, so to say. It became an example for that kind of music. In Germany, the band is still very popular, and people who were young at that time, 18, 20, still regard our music as the liberation music. But also around the world, we were maybe 10 years ago in Australia, in Melbourne, and I got a present from the new Melbourne Jazz Band stating, the CD said, tribute to the Dutch Swing College Band. It's got all our arrangements on it, and they copied it. And same happened in Novosibirsk, where we played a couple of years ago. Musicians there approached me with their copies of our music. So the band itself is a legacy, and well, I'm very proud to be part of it. And what we do at now and in the past as well, of course, is to preserve that kind of music in its origin, but with the Dutch Swing College trademark or stamp on it. So we play in a certain style. I cannot describe in words, but listen to our records and you know the difference. You know, oh, this is the Dutch Swing College Band. And of course the band has evolved in the years. As I said, maybe in the beginning there were just a few youngsters, and in 1960 there were 6 musicians in the band. 15 years ago we had 8 musicians in the band. Now we play with 6 again. 5 years ago we had 7, so it's evolving. Depending on what musicians are playing in the band, which musicians, because it's, well, you don't get the musicians that you want always. You don't always get them. They don't, so after a while they leave for something else, and you get someone new. So the music also changes a bit, but we still keep that trademark. But then, well, we had a piano and a guitar player at the same time. Now we have a guitar player and banjo player in one person. We had 2 clarinets a long time. We have 1 clarinet who is also doubling on soprano sax, tenor sax, alto sax. I want to ask, what happens when somebody leaves the band? How do you find somebody to take his place? Does he approach you? Do you approach him or her? Is there any of audition? Well, this depends. Like now we have a new trombone player, but this trombone player played 20 years ago already in the band. So when I called him, he immediately said, yeah, great, I'll join. And he is a teacher at the Amsterdam Conservatory. He's playing in the Concertgebouw Jazz Orchestra, etc., etc. But still, he said, of course, yes. So we are happy that he is again joining us. I myself was asked by Peter Schilperoort in, I think, 1985 to join on a tour, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, etc. And after that, in 1988, he phoned me if I would replace Henk Bos van Drakenstein, the bass player, who was retiring. So I immediately said yes. So I think it's a kind of decision that sometimes you ask, or you are being asked by the band, and it's not my decision or the trumpet player's decision, but it's the group, because somebody has to fit in the group, of course. But like our trumpet player Kees-Jan Hogeboom, who's now playing trumpet, he wrote me a letter or an email maybe 20 years ago, and he was still young, he's now 36, that he wanted to play in the Dutch Swing College Band. So I thought, well, what is this? No? But now he's playing in the band because he's good. So it's also, yeah, you know, we play on many festivals in Holland. You hear a drummer playing, you say, hey, yeah, this is somebody we keep an eye on him. And what we did last month in August, we had 3 concerts, and we every concert we introduced a youngster. We had a young trombone player, 21 years old. We had a young alto saxophone player on the other concert, 20 years old, and on the 3rd concert we had a girl, 15 years old, playing double bass, and she was swinging. She was great. And the singer, 15 years old, good singing. We're also trying to encourage youngsters to like our music and make it a part of their musical luggage. So who knows if one of those guys or girls will join us in a few years again. I don't know. But there's never a lack of musicians that want to join the Dutch Swing College Band, so that's good. The reason we choose for this studio 150 in this historic church in Amsterdam is that my eldest son is living next door. He's playing piano, and he told me when they were renovating the building, yeah, this studio is they're making a studio out of this. So I went to see the guys, and I was really impressed by it. And then I read about their experiences and how they do the things. So I thought, well, if we ever gonna make a live sounding album, analog recording, and with all the digital things that you maybe can use on it to make the best possible recording, we're gonna choose this studio. And when the band celebrated its 75th Jubilee anniversary, we wanted to make a special record with an ambience that sounds almost the same like live recording, but in a studio setting. And this church, Studio 150, is the best location for it. And of course, Yuri Sal, the sound technician, is, in my view, is one of the best experiences with the band. Okay, some years ago we made a record through another company which was mastered by Arjan Rietvink. Arjan is a mastering specialist who can edit, mix anything with music. So when we already recorded this album 75, the Swing College Band, I phoned Arjan and asked him if he wanted to do the mastering for this album, since Arjan is in kind of an other field of music. Of course, music is music, so if music is good, anything is good. If you listen to bad music, it's bad, no matter what style or whatever. So when I met Arjan for the first time, I was amazed by the music he handles, he mixes, he masters, because it's not really in the old traditional style of the Dutch Swing College Band, but it added something special to our music. What I really like on this new release 75 Dutch Swing College Band is the collaboration with the German artist Robert Nippold. He's a designer, illustrator, and he makes exactly the drawings in the style of our music. He made books with Taschen Verlag, and he is quite famous in Germany. So I'm very happy to get him into this project as well. When we made this 75 album, I asked Arjan to master it, which gave another extra to the music, which I like very much. And then Arjan told me about his contact with DCC, and actually I never heard of DCC before, so he had to explain what is DCC. Okay, I understood, and then I looked it up, and I also was excited. Arjan brought me in contact with Ralph, and well, yeah, this is where it started. Well, the band, of course, was also hit by the pandemic, COVID-19, Corona, and since we had in 2020, we had planned our anniversary concert, we had planned our release of the 75 album on CD, on vinyl, and then suddenly all the concerts, everything was cancelled and postponed to 2021, which, of course, you know, 2021 was still there, Corona, so everything is postponed to 2022. So this is I think the longest period the band hasn't played together. What we did in the meanwhile was getting together and make rehearsals and get together to talk about the music, to get things going. On the other hand, the release of our LP was delayed because of lack of a certain color of granulate for the vinyl pressing. Well, since the band's history is so long, 75 years, the band recorded so many albums, so many songs, so many tunes. There is a booklet with all the tunes in it, and I think it's over 200 albums that the band released. And so for us to make a new album, to choose the pieces to play on, to put on the album, as we have only 2 times 20 minutes, was very hard. I asked my friend Menno Daams to write a new composition, the 2020 rag. On the record there are several tunes the band never recorded, and also some hits that the band recorded, of course. So it's kind of mixture with, let's say, 60-70% new that the band never recorded, and 40% tunes that the band recorded but in new arrangements. And I'm very happy with the album, and I think everybody is happy with the album, especially when you listen to it. You hear the room in which it was recorded, this church. Sometimes you hear a live sound, like it's like if there is an unnatural echo in it, but it's not. It's the church. The same. This church on recording has the same. Of course, not the same, but like you can compare it with the Capitol Studios that has his famous recordings. It's got something special, and you can only hear it on this record. Yeah, so I'm very happy with it. Ian Rietvink, when we talked about this mastering of this album, he mentioned that it would be a good idea to release it also on DCC. And as I said before, I never heard of DCC, but he explained me what it is, that it was like an invention by Philips. And as I knew that Philips was also the main label that the Dutch Swing College Band performed on in its past, Arjen suggested it would be an extra to add those two worlds together. So combine the Dutch legacy Philips and the Dutch legacy Dutch Swing College Band in one project. Now I have an additional problem. Since I never heard of DCC before in the past, I obviously don't own a player. So if any of you wants to donate one, contact me or Ralph, and I'll be very grateful. I'll send you a signed signature card or whatever. Thank you very much.
Okay.